Good afternoon. I should say good morning, as the military standard calls for. It's not 1 o'clock in the afternoon yet, so we'll call it good morning. Welcome to another live stream interview here at Hidden Gem Sports Scouting. I have one of our recent uh, new clients that's come on board. I say recent because it's been probably about a month, I think, or more. This is Cory Gardiner. Cory is um, from down under. He is the first international prospect we have from Australia, specifically. We do have another international prospect from Canada, actually, two of them to be exact. So we're now, we've now expanded our international footprint clientele wise. And so Cory came to us. He is in Germany right now as we speak. He is a part of the Minden Wolves team there in Germany. It's a regional team, not part of the GFL. And this is his second stint with the Wolves. And so Cory is here with us. We're going to spend some time talking to him. Cory, thank you so much for joining me from Germany. I know this has been kind of in the making, and I know we've been playing tag back and forth trying to get the time right and one or the other being available. So I do appreciate you taking time out. I know it's about almost 7:30 in the evening there um, on Monday evening. So how are things in Germany there with the Minden Wolves? Talk to us a little bit about what you've experienced so far.
Um, Look, first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for doing the interview. Like you said, yeah, we have been playing phone tag a little bit just with the time zones, but I'm glad that I've got the opportunity now to have this interview with you. As far as things go here in Germany, it's amazing. I'm ever since I moved to the Wolves last year from Australia, I've just been inundated with experience from, the level of football and just being able to grow as a player from last season to this season. And even this season, I still am continuing to grow as a player thanks to what the Minden Wolves have had to offer for me.
Now, what part of Germany exactly is the Minden Wolves based out of?
Yep. Okay. So we are out of the state, North Rhine-Westphalia, which is the same sort of area as Cologne, Paderborn, Dusseldorf, that area. We're just on the border between NRV and Niedersachsen, which is like your Hanover area and everything like that.
Okay, okay. Talk to me a little bit. You're from Australia, obviously, the land down under, and you know, talk to me a little bit about your experience with American football prior to Germany. Kind of let everybody know what your journey has been like and how that all first began.
Yep, for sure. So, um, obviously, coming from Australia, American football isn't, well, it still is in its younger stages. It's not as big as, the rest of the world, especially here in Europe. So, being exposed to American football, especially when I was younger, it was only really what we watched on TV or played video game wise. So growing up, I actually played 20 years of soccer or football, and I just got to a stage in my life where I wasn't really enjoying myself anymore, and I had a friend who kept pestering me to come give American football a try. You'll love it. You doesn't matter, what fitness level you are, anything like that. There's a spot for everyone on the team. Come and give it a go. And I hummed and hawed about it for a little bit because, I still was playing soccer. And I just decided to bite the bullet one day and said, look, I'll come down for a training. There was no pads. It was just a introductory training. in the preseason, and did that. Was a little bit more intense than what I expected, but I left the training, wanting to experience what would be like to be in pads and helmets. And luckily enough, the next training, we got kitted up in pads and helmets, and I took that first initial hit. Obviously, being a rookie, I got my ass kicked, but I got back up and fell in love with it. And from there, it's just been practically what is the next step? How can I, get the most out of this sport and what I can do while my body still allows it, pretty much, which I'm hoping for like another 6 or 7 years, easily, with my playing career. But I actually started in the Regional Queensland League in Townsville for the Cyclones. Obviously, the Cyclones' history, they are one of the, if not the most dominant force in regional Queensland. My first 2 years, so my rookie year and my second year, I was unfortunately a part of the rebuild. So the team had just gone from winning 5 straight championships in a row to losing 2 championships back to back. So it was a little bit, it was a little bit of a learning curve. And then from there, that following season, we reclaimed the Reef Bowl. And that was actually the same season where I, obviously wanting to push myself, decided to move down to Canberra, to the Canberra Centurions. And in that same season as well, I won the ACT Gridiron League. So that was a nice little year for me, playing 2 seasons pretty much right after another. And then from there, obviously we had a small break because of COVID, but it was only during our preseason period. Being in Australia, the seasons are played pretty much from September till February over the Christmas period. And so after winning the ACT League, I came back up to Townsville with the Cyclones and went back to back with them. And also back to back with the Canberra Centurions. It's just, my life has pretty much been football ever since 2018. I've lived and breathed American football.
What is it that really motivates you or entices you to want to play this sport?
Because to me, it is probably the most accurate definition of what team sport should be. Like, there's regardless of what your skill level ability is, it's the team that is either going to win you games or lose you games. It's not just going to be one random player. Okay, you might have a good quarterback who can throw absolute dimes, but if you don't have the offensive line or the receivers or the running backs to help gel with that, then so it's what I've found to be the most accurate team sport that you could play. And I fell in love with the sense of family, especially here in Minden, with the Wolves. Their whole philosophy is football is family, and being a part of the team, like you do feel as a part of a family.
What in the 4 or 5 years now that you've played the sport, what's been your most memorable moment to this point?
Honestly, it would have been winning the championship last year with Minden. Just just seeing the amount of hard work and effort that I'd put in to not only be able to come overseas to play football, but seeing that pay dividends and, you know, being champions at the end of last season, undefeated, was a huge shock for me. It wasn't something I really expected, but having the fans and everyone's support, not only the team but be like my biggest fans, and have people come up to me after the game and say, "Oh, we've loved watching you play. We're your biggest fan. You're so great. We're glad you came to Minden." Everything like that. It was honestly such a surreal experience to know that people were coming to the games to watch me play. That was yeah.
Okay. Talking about that, how's the reception been from the Minden fan base there in Germany, with you being from the land down under, Australia? How's that been reception wise?
Amazing. Like the people here in Germany are such a friendly folk. They're always wanting to come up and ask us questions or talk to us in English, and it is truly amazing. The fans, like, they get behind us no matter what. Like you said at the start, even though we are a regional team in the fourth league, we still average 1,800 to 2,000 fans per home game, and like hearing them support, like hearing them cheer us on as we run out, and when we're on the field, it's such an amazing experience.
So, how has it been playing a sport where you can get away with a certain level of physical violence against another player and not be penalized for that?
It is good, So sometimes you have a bad week, or something just doesn't go right, and especially playing offensive line or defensive tackle, you get to line up against someone else and know that I'm going to hit you regardless, and you're either going to be ready for it, or we're going to butt heads. But honestly, it's such a fulfillment to be able to get out there and be aggressive. I think it's a soothing, or nearly a coping mechanism, really.
Can be, yeah, in many ways, in very many ways.
Yeah.
What's the transition been like for you, coming from a soccer background, or in other countries it's called football? We refer to it as soccer. What's the transition been like from a physical conditioning standpoint, from a learning standpoint, from a playbook knowledge standpoint? Talk to me a little bit about that transition.
So obviously, being on the line, you have to have sort of more that physical presence rather than the endurance athletic side. So being able to get to that muscle power, and learning everything from my stance to firing off the ball, everything like that. It was a big shock to the system, and I'm still always learning. Like, regardless of whether I think I know everything from inside zone to outside zone, traps, counters, everything like that, I will never know everything. I'm always looking at YouTube videos, or different lineman coaches, especially on Facebook, just to help build my technique up and find ways that work for me to be able to do what I can do to the best of my ability. And learning the playbook, it is a lot to take in, especially when you have a lot of different schemes. But sometimes you get to games where you may only use 8 or 9 specific plays that just seem to work. So, and it's just making sure that those 8 or 9 plays that you execute to 100% of your ability. And that's why, outside of our team trainings, I'm always, just down at the park, trying to go through my steps, trying to go through my play schemes, my pass protection, everything like that, just to make sure that I can be the best when I step out onto that field.
So, what was it like the first time you heard of an American football play? The wordiness and the play descriptions.
Well,
I know a lot of coaches can get real wordy with a play call.
Yeah, and like once you understand sort of one or two schemes, it all pretty much just falls into place. And you just have to sort of break it down to what my role is and how my role is affected in that play. And that's what I've learned, especially playing for 3 different teams, 3 different offensive schemes, 3 different defensive schemes, different levels of complication to each of them. You just have to sort of, make sure that my routes and everything, my plays are locked in, and just go from there.
Tell me about a play call that was the first time you heard it, like it just really threw you for a loop.
Oh, it would have to. Oh, what? I can't really give it away like as a part, but it's a variation of a wildcat play.
Sure.
Yeah,
you don't have to give it away specifically, but
no, without giving away specifics. Going from offensive line being told that you've got the center, the 2 guards, and the 2 tackles, to going to a wildcat scheme, where those certain positions change, it becomes a little bit hard, or not hard to grasp, but it just becomes something that you have to focus on a little bit more, so that when the play gets called, you still know what your position is, what your block is, everything like that. And what I really enjoy bringing to the other offensive lines that I step into is the communication side. I'm very much an offensive lineman who is always communicating, not only with my center but with my tackle as well, just so we're the 3 of us are on the same page to know what's going on at any given time.
What has that been like for you in a position group where there are 5 guys and all of you have to communicate to ensure the blocking assignments are executed the right way so that play is successful? And knowing that if you don't communicate, any one of the 5 don't communicate, that play could just be a busted play.
Yeah, and look, I've seen that happen, and especially when you get into, or especially playing in Australia, you get into late 3rd quarter, late 4th quarter. It's hot. You've been driving up and down the field. You've had a few penalties go your way, and then all of a sudden, you lose that ability to talk. You just get the play, you hand down in the ground, and you just go for the play. That communication, it does play a big role. And especially when I was first learning the game, I was so focused on just remembering my role and what I had to do that there were times where I did miss a block, or misread the scheme because I was just so focused on my play that I forgot to I didn't communicate with the other people around me. And from there I've learnt and just made it a part of my break from the huddle, straight down on the line, talk to my guard, my center and my tackle, and make sure that we're all on the same page, ready for the quarterback to say hut. It's almost like muscle memory now. You break from the huddle, straight to the line, have a look at what the defense has to offer, down in your stance, ready to go.
What's been your experience as far as the camaraderie, the meshing of the offensive line? And do you guys hang out? Do you guys cook out together? Do you guys talk about playbook? Review over the week, or are you guys close as a unit?
Yeah, and as much as we are sort of the positional group that doesn't get a lot of credit, we always try to find, or every offensive line that I've stepped into, we always make it a point that we always do social activities together in some way. We always have a group messenger chat. We always have during preseason, we'll always do one day a week we'll sit down and watch film and have a cookout. We'll have my team in Canberra, the quarterback used to give us incentives, that no sacks allowed this week. He'll cook us food, or he'll shout the next round of meals when we have a team dinner, everything like that. And it just, to be able to have that trust in each other from, almost becoming like a brotherhood, to have that trust in each other, knowing each time you step out onto the field, the 4 or 5 other guys beside you, you will always be there to fight to fight with you, and help you if there's any issues. And that's one of the best things is just the camaraderie between the 5 linemen.
But offensive lineman is the most important position on the field. You'll find in most levels across the globe, offensive linemen are like the unicorns of football because they're so hard to find, healthy, and having a desire to continue playing.
Yeah. And that's so, especially moving over here to Minden, after last year's summer break, especially, I said to my head coach, I said to him, I said, look, I said, I don't care, I don't care how much you yell at me, everything like that. I said, I'm here to make myself better, not like for the team. I know that, everything you say is to help us get better for the team. So I said, look, I'm not going to be put off by the intensity that you bring, the passion that you bring, because I know, like, as soon as we step into onto that field, into that painted line, like, emotions go out the window. Like, it's game time. We're here to win. It's high intensity, high emotion. But at the end of the day, when the final whistle blows and we step off that field, we're all still going to be friends, everything like that. And I'm not one to shy away from the extra criticism, the extra work, everything like that.
Sure. Let's talk about this. Let's back up for a minute. When it comes to your football journey, you've not played formal American football like at a high school or a college level to learn the basics early on. You're kind of stepping into this where you're kind of going from a semi-professional type level to trying to just break right into a professional level, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And look, you do, especially when I moved over to Germany and got to play alongside and be coached by former like uh, D1 college, D2 college, you know, NFL like level players, just to understand what the they went through high school, college, everything like that. Um, it was like a big shock, especially uh, with Australia not having that level of intense school sports. So, but I am thankful that I have had these players and coaches to get experience off, because it gives me a benchmark of, where I should be, like what my effort level should be putting into each training or on game days, or what my mentality should be during the season. And it has uh, coming from Australia to Germany, it has really benefited my playing, trying to push myself to compete at what their level was when they were in high school and college.
Right. That it's I don't think a lot of people understand that a lot of times international prospects don't have the level of training that Americans have, because we have youth, we have middle school, grade school, as some people call it, high school, college, semi-pro. There's a lot of avenues to learn the game at various age levels to help continue that journey to where you guys have basically the Victorian Gridiron League, which is kind of an amateur, semi-professional type level, and you have to learn from that and move on. I mean, that's not exactly an easy thing to do when you've never been taught the fundamentals or the basics of the sport. Um, a lot of times in amateur and semi-pro levels, especially here in America, you find a lot of people that don't really know what they're doing coaching wise. They don't know how to teach fundamentals and basics. And so a lot of players are guys that are washed up past their prime, never had a prime, just want to continue to play for the love of the game. There's not a whole lot of fundamental and techniques being taught to help guys like you develop and move on. So in Australia, that's kind of all you have to lean on, and that's it's got to not be a real easy thing to do, especially after which now we have technology of YouTube, and there's coaches videos and there's highlight videos and teaching videos, and you got Google and stuff like that. So there's other ways to teach and educate yourself, but from a formal on the field standpoint, it's got to be pretty difficult trying to pick up a sport that, like you said, is still kind of in its infancy in places like Australia and Europe and different places, and trying to figure out what Americans already know, what they already understand, what they've already been taught over the years. Because we start playing the game at usually about 5 years old. So by the time you've been at high school, you've had about 13 years of learning and teaching and running through camps and summer workouts and all the things that we've implemented into football now. And during the summer, we have 7-on-7, where in high school, you go to other schools and you compete with their guys, and that helps you learn the passing portion of your offensive scheme. And so there's all these different things that we do, and I just imagine it's got to be pretty difficult trying to pick up a sport in a country where there's not a whole lot of coaching expertise or teaching and educational resources other than online. I imagine it's got to be pretty difficult, And
It
now,
it
yeah,
it,
go
it,
ahead.
it was, and it still is, but at the same time too, like once I realized, like after my first preseason, and that initial first game, falling in love with the sport, I just developed this mentality that, I want to push myself as hard and as high as I can to see, where I can get to, and see what it takes um, to get that way. Like when my after my second season in Townsville, I could have just stayed playing it in Townsville, enjoying it with the boys, just as just as a typical sport in Australia. But because of my desire to want to better myself and um, get as much out of it as I could, I spoke to one of the state league coaches when they came up initially to do scouting for the state league tournament in Australia. I said to him, I said, look, I want to better myself. And he said, look, there's always opportunities down in Canberra. If you want, we'll be happy to have you, everything like that. And I jumped at the chance just to get get to that next stage, and then from there, that initial jump, it was always, what is the next step to better myself?
Sure.
What is the next step to push my limits? I've and my Canberra coach will, he's not ashamed to say it, and I'm not ashamed of it either. When I was first selected for the state league team, um, I was on the fringe. I wasn't a part of the initial squad. I was like a shadow player. So if someone got injured, I stepped in, and um, he initially said to me, if it wasn't because of your size and your physicality, we probably wouldn't have even looked at you. And then from there, that sort of gave me the drive and motivation to want to better myself. And then from sort of that initial critique, I went from being just the big guy to um, sort of like a stalwart on the offensive line for the Centurions, the Canberra Centurions. So it was a big thing, and he would tell like other players, like, yeah, when Cory, when we were.
All right, so we're back here with Cory. We're picking up where we left off. Going to take a real quick break for about a minute or two. I apologize. I've been a little under the weather today, so I'm trying to suck it up and get through this. And I just appreciate Cory's patience and understanding. But let's get back into this. Let's talk about what's the popularity like now in Australia when it comes to um, American football. How popular is it in your home country?
It is starting to become quite popular. We are, like, the sport is starting to get out and get a little bit more exposed within the states, which is helping to grow. Um, you know, and because there's multiple, because each state has its own league, apart from the Northern Territory, there is always opportunities for players to find a team that, they can go down and give a try. And you get to you play for one team, and one of the players might have come from a different state, and they'll know certain players that and it's really becoming quite a community of and growing. So it's good, and especially with the exposure that current NFL players are getting. Not just we're starting to become a country that is known for its players rather than just players that can kick. So
Absolutely. So you're an offensive lineman, obviously. You got some experience on the D line as well.
correct. Yep.
Talk to me about which side of the ball you like better as far as the trenches are concerned.
Look, as much as I always try and find a chance to get over and play on D line, there's just that certain satisfaction you get playing on the offensive line, and you play against a team, and throughout the game they will just cycle different defensive linemen in front of you, just trying to find a way to get under your skin or break you or find a way to outmatch you. And there's just that sense of accomplishment seeing the defensive line struggle. So yeah, I would have to say offensive line. It grew on me.
So you're what, an offensive guard?
Yeah. Look, I've played every position on the offensive line. I started my first year as right tackle. I've played left guard, right guard. I've had a few snaps at center.
What's
It would
what
be
is that like?
center.
What's that been like for you, learning to snap the ball and then having to automatically like come back up and defend yourself?
Yeah, out of the three positions, center would probably be at the bottom for me. Players that play center, they are a very unique player. It is what they have to do to be able to snap the ball in the vicinity of the quarterback and have the reaction time to get their hands up and either drive for a run play or step back for a pass play, as well as deal with that oncoming rushing defensive lineman. It is very much a lot of respect goes out to the centers, and especially my centers that I've played with over my career. I do hold a lot of respect for. So,
What playing the center position, you got to be very intelligent and you got to be very aware of your surroundings, because not only do you have to know the play call and understand it thoroughly, but you got to know the other four guys blocking assignments and be able to direct them before the snap and point and hey, you got him, make sure you got him. Hey, there's a linebacker blitzing, make sure you pick him up.
yeah.
That kind of thing. So center has a lot of responsibility and has I don't want to say more of an academic or football knowledge requirement than other positions, but when you are the steering wheel, so to speak, for the offensive line, that's a lot of responsibility. And you're not just worried about your assignment, the guy to my left, the guy to my right, the two guys on the outside, and then you're looking at the defense and you're trying to envision, okay, we talked about these things, but now they moved over here. So now who's got that guy and who's picking up this guy? And so it's just a lot. If a team wanted you to play center, how open are you?
Oh, I'm honestly 100% open to. I'm open to giving everything a shot. Obviously, especially being a center, it would just require that more that more focus and dedication during trainings, and I might, it might just mean that I have to put in extra time training to understand the scheme a little bit better as a center. But yeah, definitely would not turn that opportunity down.
What was the first time like for you when you had film study? Was that kind of
Look,
for you, or like?
it was brutal. It was brutal. My coaches tore shreds off me, but it was good. It was good because it gave me the opportunity to look like understand why they were so upset with me, why, or not so upset, but why the play broke down the way it did. And then, so obviously, after the film study, the next time we'd go at training to run that scheme, you'd keep in the back of your mind, all right, in film, I got in trouble for doing this, so this time I'll do it this way, and just sort of adjust to, or make those adjustments to be able to be better. And you know, from there, film actually became probably my favorite part of training because, as the saying goes, film doesn't lie. So you might think that you've had an absolute amazing game, but you look at film and you might accidentally miss a block or have a misread, or just find something that you could do to make that play even more better, and turn it from, say, a 5 or 6 yard run to a 10-yard, 20-yard touchdown run. So yeah.
So the first time a coach said, the film doesn't lie. That's a big thing with coaches. It's one of our favorite slogans. The film doesn't lie. Did it click with you, or were you like, what is he talking about? Like,
No, I sort of, I like, once it's recorded, like, or once it's captured, there's no escaping it. There's no hiding from it. No matter how bad the angle is, how bad the quality of video is, like, there will always be a way to find out who was doing what. And I learned to embrace it, and I accepted the criticism, and I feel like I've learned more from coaches, even just picking on the most minute detail of my gameplay. I've learned more from that than them saying, hey, you did a good job on this play. Because by them saying, hey, you've done a good job on this play, well, that it might give me the sense of sort of like false security. Coach says I've done a good play on this job, so good job on this play. So going forward, if I do it that same way, it's always going to work. But that next game, I might do it the same way, but it might go completely wrong for me. So I would rather a coach sit there during film and pick on anything from my footwork to my hand placement, anything like my head movement, anything, just to help me be a better player in every game, every opportunity.
what's that been like for you, as far as you do have to have certain footwork, and you do have to have certain hand placement, and on certain blocks we're putting our head on a certain side, or we're moving at a certain angle. What's that been like for you, having to learn how to get in a 3-point stance and then remember, I've got to take my first step here or my first step there, or I'm trying to get my hips turned in a certain way and trying to get the man turned inside, or I'm trying to get him turned outside, or
It was a little bit awkward to start off with, but the more work that's put in at training, the more we do. Like, I do film study, like you always find little ways that you can adjust to make it less uncomfortable and just be able to freely move better. When I moved to Canberra, my head coach down there literally said to all the offensive linemen before we even worry about hitting defensive linemen, you're gonna do just basics of stretching, like hip stretching, quick feet, everything like that, just to get your bodies used to the movements constantly, and then comes the hitting of the defensive lineman.
Have you had a chance to work on the sleds?
Yes, I love. The Canberra Centurions had a 2-man sled.
Yeah.
That was we would use that every training. We would spend 30 to 40 minutes as offensive linemen just using that sled to drive it up and down the field. And it was good to see. When your blocks were effective and the sled disengaging because you've made the correct block. It brought that sense of satisfaction.
I hated the sled. When I was in middle school, I was an offensive lineman, and we had a 5-man sled, and we had to push it the length of the field, go around the goalpost, and turn and come back up the field again.
Yeah.
So during the hot summer heat, you make a full 100-yard loop all the way down, all the way back. I mean, your legs will be on fire.
Yeah, that's it. But it's like through that pain that you put in at training, come game days, that satisfaction of seeing, that defensive tackle flailing in front of you while you're driving them into the backfield or into a linebacker. There's no better satisfaction than that.
So have you also gotten, like, colleges now have these metal frames, and they use them to teach staying low. You get in your 3-point stance and you fire out, and you have to stay underneath that frame and come out the other side.
Yeah, so
through
here at the Wolves, we've got a PVC chute set up, so we can set it up to have it as either a 5-man or any combination of linemen to go through the chute and fire out of our stances and stay low. So it was a little bit of an eye opener my first time, especially being a bigger guy.
Did you get your bell rung?
But yeah, so my first couple of times I did smack my back against it, but from there, it just comes back to muscle memory. You start to get that drive. Your steps start to fall into place, and then from there, it just slowly starts to progress.
It really works as far as any linemen that are kind of lackadaisical or get lazy at the end, because if you raise up too soon, you're going to hit your head or you're going to catch your neck. You're going to get clotheslined as you go through. So you better learn to stay down and stay underneath that bar.
That's it. But in saying that, I prefer the sled over the chute. But whatever comes. Like it's a yeah.
So let's move on a little bit. So obviously you've had experience at all 5 positions. How old are you currently?
So I'm currently 30. Like there's
okay.
I've.
And you stand how tall right now?
So I'm 189 centimeters, which I'm gonna say is just on 6'3".
Okay, all right. And obviously, you and I have talked offline. You're obviously going through a journey of some weight loss and trimming down. Just any coaches or scouts or general managers that may see this, where are you at currently in that journey? Like,
as of yesterday, I'm just under 170.
Nice. Okay. So that puts your current weight at what right now? And as far as pounds are concerned.
370,
Right.
380. Let me
Okay.
just have let me have a quick look at that. Yeah, that kilos. Let's go. Let's just go. I'm about 370.
Okay. So what's your goal as far as say by the end of the season or by
By,
the
by the by
start of
the end
your
of this by the end
season?
of this season by the end of this season, I ideally I would ideally like to be 350 or sub 350.
Okay. What's your long term goal? Where you see yourself trying to get to
Uh,
ultimately?
ideally, ideally, sort of like that 340. Um, but in saying that too, like obviously, you know, losing the body fat, gaining the muscle, like it is going to counterbalance in some way. So I guess my rather than a target number,
Yeah,
my aim would be just to be able to trim down, but be able to keep a certain level of physicality.
sure, sure. That's understandable. Um, so let's kind of move on. What obviously there's a downtime with American football. What has your off-season regimen been like? What do you let me ask it this way: what do you focus on during your off-season training preparation time? Are you focusing on fundamentals and technique work? Are you fun?
Well, since my first since winning the Capital Bowl, sorry, with the Reef Bowl with the Cyclones the first time, I pretty much have not had an off season.
Right,
It is pretty much been a season of football from 2019 onwards. Sorry,
let's say you
Okay,
start
so
getting
sorry, 2021 to now has just been football. Uh, obviously there was the regional Queensland season with the Cyclones, then straight down to the ACTG gridiron season with the Centurions. Then from there, I had literally a 3-week break just to finalize everything before I was on a plane over here to Germany. And then that was straight into preseason with the Minden Wolves. Then from the end of the season last year with the Wolves, I flew straight back to um, Canberra and was playing both the ACTG and RQ seasons at the same time. So during the bye weeks, I was playing for each different league, and then after that, I had a 2-week break between the end of both championship games before I was back over here in Minden starting preseason all over again. So I've essentially had just 2 years of straight football with about 6 weeks total break.
well, let's say you got into a normal football routine
Yep.
and you had an off season. That first off season, what do you think your focus would be on? Would it be weight
Oh,
loss?
straight core and cardio.
Would it be fundamentals and techniques, or strength and conditioning, or
It would be so if I had a team, like if I was going into a new team during that off season, I would be spending most 60% of the time going over the new playbooks, everything like that, just so I had that um, understanding of the playbooks, as well as it would be uh, a little bit of strength work, but mainly conditioning. So at the moment we're currently in our 5-week break uh, for the summer break here in Germany, and while we don't have any official trainings for the team, I've taken up CrossFit 3 days a week for the next 5 weeks for my cardio and core work, as well as of an afternoon. I'm down at the field just going through our offensive blocking schemes for that. So, I'm always doing something football related to help myself or help the team.
Sure. Well, like here in America, say for instance, indoor ball runs through like the end of February, 1st of March until about June or July. They don't do tryouts or anything until October, November, because the player contract is 1 October to 1 October. So you sign a contract, even if you sign it in July, or let's say you sign it in May, you're on contract till 1 October. Oh, wait a minute. We lost Cory there for a second. Let's see if we can get him back. I know we've had all sorts of difficulties today with this interview, and I apologize to anybody watching. We will get this all fixed and patched up. So, Cory, what I was saying was basically like indoor ball. Let's say you signed a contract with a team in let's just say April. You're on that contract till 1 October. 1 October, you become a free agent. They don't even start doing tryouts until October, November, and the new season doesn't start till the end of February. So you've kind of got that gap of about 2 or 3 months downtime. That's where guys over here say that they're in the lab. They're back in the lab working on whatever they felt like they need to work on: speed and agility, strength and conditioning, fundamentals and techniques, nutrition, cardio, whatever it is. They go somewhere and they get back in the weight room, a training facility with a trainer. And they start to work on those things and fix those things. So that's what I was kind of asking you was that.
And that's the same thing. Like I'm the same. And obviously, because I am, I don't have the years of experience on me like someone who's, gone through the American school system and playing football that way. So, I have to work that little bit harder to especially in my off season, just to be able to, be able to compete at that level that I want, and just try and get close to, the other athletes that I'm either playing alongside or playing against. So, I'm always going to be putting in that extra effort.
Sure.
Anywhere it comes from.
That's understandable. Especially in the U.S. side of things, college and professional teams have a certain level of community service aspect to it. And I know in the European market, there's some community service aspect to things. What has that been like for you to become involved in? And on that same note, what are your favorite community service type events?
Anything where I can be out and interact with the community. Whether it be something that a sponsor puts on, like a sponsor related event where it might not necessarily be for the team, but the team is there and a part of this sponsor's event, then I'm always the first person to put my hand up to be there, just to get out and, interact with the fans, interact with the community, handing out promotional stuff, everything like that. It's, without the fans that come to our game, or without the community knowing who we are, it's, you don't get that level of, that game day experience just isn't quite there. So, and the fans are good to us, that they're continually showing up to our games, putting in the effort, rain or sunshine, or heat as it is currently here in Germany. They're currently putting in the effort to come to our games and support us. So the least we can do, or I can do personally, is be out and engage with them, even if it's just taking some photos or saying hi, and having a conversation. That's that's where I'm at. I've done a few promotional pictures and video shoots for our major sponsors, for the Minden Wolves, which like I'll always put my hand up for promotional stuff as well in that aspect. Because without the sponsors, the teams wouldn't be able to operate the way they are. So anything community related, I'm always the first one to put my hand up, the first one there. And I'll always be that kind of person that will stay after the event, to help pack up or help set up, everything like that.
So you're a team first guy, basically,
Yeah.
is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and it just, like I said, like it goes back to like the start of the interview when I said it's a team sport. Every team that I step into, it's all about that team. What I can do to make that team prosper and benefit in any way, whether it be from my play style to community engagement. It's that team.
That's a huge thing because a lot of guys over here take that stuff for granted and don't want to be a part of it, or kind of more about themselves at times. And it looks better when you want to be part of a team and do those things, and the fans think that much more of you when you do that. Um, have you found what have you found the fan interaction to be like? Not just on game day, but just you're out and about in a restaurant. Maybe some people recognize you from the field, or
It's amazing. Like so like we'll my housemate, who's an American import as well, like we'll just be walking through the city on one of our off days, and we'll have people come up to us and say, "Oh, you guys are the Minden Wolves players. Great game on the weekend," or "We hope to see you on the weekend. Good luck," everything like that. And we'll always stop and have a chat. Find out a little bit about the person, that why they enjoyed coming to the game, what got them into wanting to come and watch the sport, and just that engagement. Like I'll and like I've said to some people after the game that have come up to me and said, "Oh, we saw you at such and such a restaurant. We were going to come up and say hi, but we didn't know what to do." And I encourage it. Like if you guys see me, if fans see me out having dinner or whatever, having breakfast, come up and say hi. Come up and like it's nothing for me. Like I want to become your friend. Like it's all engagement for me.
have you had your first autograph request yet? Or
Yes. So last year I actually had I had a few kids come up to me at the end of games and ask for my autograph, and just having that happen to you, especially coming from a country where the sport isn't quite as big, having that happen to you, just it makes it all worthwhile. It makes the trainings, the pain, everything all worthwhile to have, people wear your jersey number, everything like that. It's truly such a surreal experience.
so obviously you're a little older.
Yeah.
What are your goals with football right now? As far as like what levels are you trying to reach at this point in your career?
So, okay, so my my idol, I guess you could say, um, is Simon Whitworth. Like the guy was 40 years old, won a Super Bowl. Okay, now I know personally, I will like my time for that is past. So my aim is to just push myself and get as high as I can. Um, yeah, and you do everything. Like money is not an option. Not an option. Not a factor for me. Like I don't. Um, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for the experience, for the teams, everything like that. I I've had players talk to me and be like, oh, I've just signed with this team. They're giving me this much, and I'm just someone who's like, look, as long as I've got enough money to survive, that's it. I really couldn't care. Money is not a mega factor for me. I've always, I've never relied on money to get me through life. So it's all about experiences for me. I would rather have the experience over the money.
I got you. I got you. Nothing wrong with that.
No,
So
but just to be a little bit more specific on your question, um, you know, obviously, um, as far as where I want to push myself, ELF, the CFL, USFL, XFL, or the IFL. Um, I want to be able to I want to be able to push myself and look back when I retire and look back at the experiences and the memories that I've made from playing football.
where do you see yourself when the cleats have been hung up, the last play has been played? Where does Cory go from there? Do you see yourself becoming a coach and staying
Yeah,
around,
100%, 100%.
or
Currently here in Minden, I'm one of the coaches for the under-13s team, and it's all about giving, like, passing on my experience.
sure?
Um, Obviously, recently there has been a desire to, like, once I retire, step into like even an assistant coaching role for like a men's team,
Yeah.
and go from there and just um, take on that responsibilities as a coach. So
Do you see yourself with like kind of a goal out after your career is over to become like a resident expert offensive line coach that everybody comes to for training and hey, they want you to coach on their team and like the guy that everybody says, well, that's the guy that can teach you how to be an O lineman.
yes and no. Like, yes, I would like that to have people say, oh, Cory's one of the best linemen that have come out of Australia, or he knows his shit, basically. But at the same time too, it's not. I've never been one for that individual side. Like, I would rather be a part of the team rather than and just help a team rather than be the one specific guy.
And, a lot of guys that go into coaching, that kind of becomes their new challenge, their new goal is to become that expert coach at that position group. And all of a sudden now in the off season, everybody's saying, hey, you need to go train with that guy because he can teach you how to play that position, or he can get you into college, or he can help teach you the position to a point where you can play pro one day or whatever.
I would, if I was to like do something like that, it would probably be like an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
you.
I would, you know, put my knowledge into running an offense. I think would be. I would. That would be my next challenge. Post playing career would be to run a successful offense. Not just like a a, a one championship offense, like a dynasty sort of offense. That would be the coaching aim.
I got you. I got you. That's not a bad goal at all to have after your playing career is over. Um, I was a linebacker coach, and I had a chance to coach a kid and teach him the middle linebacker position, and got him a bunch of college offers, and that was kind of my prized coaching moment. That was that one moment I can look back and say that's where I had the most fun.
Yeah.
That was the most memorable, and I affected and changed somebody else's life. And so um, I think coaching is a great thing, and I think for you, it would be a great thing to keep you around the sport longer. Guy with your mindset and your outlook and things, I think kids would, benefit greatly from learning from someone like you and hearing your story. Um, you know, I guess we in total we've gone over the hour mark here, and um, we've talked about a lot of different things. Not necessarily the questions I have, but that's okay. As I tell every athlete, when the interview starts, the first question I ask, I listen to your answers, and sometimes that answer requires me to make a right turn or a left turn, and we go down another road. And so we've been down a lot of different roads today, but um, you know, moving forward, I guess what my question would be is, um, what do you want coaches, scouts, general managers, player personnel directors that might see this? What do you want them to know about Cory that they don't know through your profile, through this interview, through your film, through speaking to you directly? What is it that you bring to the table that says you need to give me a chance? Like you should give me an opportunity. Take a couple minutes here, about a minute or two, and kind of give your best sales pitch. Like sell yourself. Why should teams in America or other European teams or the CFL or whoever, give you an opportunity?
Um, I,
I know I threw a curveball at you.
yeah. It was a big curveball, but look, if you're looking for a player that, like I said, isn't afraid of criticism, isn't afraid to put in those extra reps at training, who will always be there to support the guys no matter what. Like, even if my limit's reached, just to be there to push and motivate the other players. If you're looking for someone who can lead behind the scenes, then or someone that the guys can rely on, that I am your guy. My offensive coordinator turned around to me 2 games ago, and he said to me, he said, we've had a few injuries, and I know you played out of position, but he turned around and he was looking for someone to fill it, like to cover the position. And he came up to me, he approached me, and he said, look, I know you haven't trained at this position. Can you step in? And without hesitation, I was helmet on, ready to go. I said, yep, put me in. I might not have, played the greatest at that position, but I'm there to play I'm there to fill in if you need me. I'm there. I can lead as a starter, or I can fill in, and come off the bench and be an impact player.
Okay. That's a good answer. It's an intelligent answer. And that's really all I was looking for, was you to sell yourself like a car salesman. Why is it they should buy this particular car versus the other 100 that are on the lot?
I,
Um,
Short answer is reliability.
here you go.
If I was to sum it up in one word, reliability. First one, the one to always be there for team events, sponsor events, at trainings, everything like that. Being over here in Germany, I think I've missed 2 trainings, and that was because I was near on my deathbed sick. I had injury last year that put me out for 2 trainings during preseason, but I was still there on the sidelines, helping the coaches, helping the players, everything like that. So reliability would be a one-word summary of what to expect if I was to join the team.
What I would say in summary is a selfless team player who is dependable and reliable, who always has a positive outlook on things, and is not afraid of feedback or criticism.
No.
That's what I would personally say. Getting to know you, interacting with you. I think you always have a positive outlook and always a positive greeting when you and I interact. So those are the things that I pick up on. Um, you know, I wanted to kind of throw a fun question out there. Is there an offensive lineman that maybe has played in the NFL or is currently in the NFL that maybe you've seen some old videos of or highlights of, and you said, I want to be like that guy. I want to play like that guy. I want to kind of develop myself into that type of player.
Yeah. Not really. Like I just want to be I want to be a hybrid, I guess you could say. I want to be
Right.
I want to be a combination of all the different offensive guards or tackles. I want to have little bits of let's say Mailata's play style. I want to have a little bit of Jason Kelsey's play style. I want to have a little bit of Whitworth's style. Like it's a variation, I guess you could say.
I got you. Not a bad answer at all. I always like to kind of throw some fun questions out there like that,
Yeah.
to kind of get guys' feedback and who they watch and who they keep up with, and so yeah, man. Hey, great answer.
Yes. And look, I know it might affect my chances, but I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. I have been from the start. So yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I've been. Everyone's like, oh, you're a Cam Newton Panthers fan, everything like that. I'm talking pre Cam Newton, like Jake Delhomme, Muhammad, Julius Peppers, like
Yep.
the earlier Panthers. Yeah,
Julius Peppers was a big time player for a while.
yeah,
He moved on with the Bears, and I think he kind of called it quits after that. I think he came back to Carolina just long enough to retire.
yeah.
And so he was a really good player. Jake Delhomme was a good player. I think he got his start in NFL Europe, if I'm not mistaken. That was where he had his breakout time. NFL Europe, for those who may be watching and are wondering, is now now replaced by the modern day ELF. The European League of Football was created to basically rekindle the old NFL Europe days from the late 1980s and early 1990s when I was a young kid. So, yeah, I think he got his start there, if I'm not mistaken. It's where he kind of became a commodity. But, um, real quick, tell everybody that may be watching how they can find you on social media.
Yep. So Facebook, Cory James Gardiner. My display picture is my 3 teams that I've played for throughout my career with the number 52. You can find me on Instagram, the causer of pain, number 52. Yeah. Or you can find me through my player profile at Hidden Gem Sports Scouting.
Yep. And that information is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. You can check out Cory's profile at HG Sports with an S, scouting.com. Go to professional prospects, click on Cory's picture, his name, and that'll open up his profile. And this interview will be posted there later today. Obviously, we'll have to do a little editing and splice the two together and make it one complete interview. We'll repost it on social media once that's done. But you'll be able to watch the entirety of this interview on his profile along with his film. We are currently working to get all that cleaned up and put into a Hidden Gems format. And so, yeah, we're, any team that might need a last minute offensive lineman to make a playoff run, or teams that may be looking for an up and coming season, indoor or whatever, you can reach out to us through direct message on social media. You can also message us on our website. There's a little orange circle at the bottom right corner. As a chat tool. If you click on that, a chat box will open up and you can chat with us directly from there. So you can also email us. That's another way you can contact us. You can reach us through WhatsApp. And that information will be posted on our social media pages and the website. Cory, I really appreciate it. And I want to sincerely apologize to you. I know we've been playing tag and
I understand. And like I said, thanks for everything you've done. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
This has really been a fun time. I mean, we've done almost an hour the second piece and about 40 minutes the first piece, so almost a 2-hour interview with you.
But yeah, like if any teams have any more questions, I'm a very approachable person. Like if there's anything particular that teams want to know, feel free to either message me or message coach, and yeah, I'll gladly answer it. I've got nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide.
Well, listen, I really appreciate it. Like I said, we've done about an hour and 45 minutes for you. It's a lot longer than any other clients had an interview, but I've had a really great time. We've talked about a lot of interesting things. I think a lot of people got a chance to really get to know you now through this interview and through, your perception and views of certain experiences. And I still think there's a lot of miles left on the tires.
100%. I don't feel like I'm slowing down anytime soon. Like I'm still putting in the effort, trying to compete, everything, giving these young kids a run for their money. I know I'm still a kid at heart, so yeah.
30 is young. You still got plenty of time.
That's it. Heaps of time.
Continue to lock in. Continue to bear down and grind. Continue that weight loss journey. I think that's a huge thing for you. And the better, the more your weight comes down, the more physically athletic you'll feel, and the more you'll be able to compete with these young cats on all these leagues. And so I really appreciate your time. I look forward to interacting with you on a more consistent, more regular basis, and seeing the doors that we can open for you as we move forward. What's on your agenda? I know let's see, it's about 1:45 here. So it's about what, 8:45 there?
So it'll be I've still got about maybe an hour and a half of daylight. So
Okay.
I'll take my stuff down to the field, just get some work in, come home, have some dinner that I've prepped, and shower and bed, and I'll do it all again tomorrow.
All right. Well, listen, enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for your time. I greatly
I will.
appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another live stream interview here with Hidden Gem Sports Scouting. Cory Gardiner, offensive lineman, one of our international prospects from Australia. I look forward to seeing you back here again when we conduct another interview in the near future. These interviews will be spliced together and replaced on social media for viewing, as well as our YouTube channel, Hidden Gems Sports Scouting. It will go on Cory's profile. So again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for tuning in, Cory. Thank you for your time as well. And I look forward to speaking with everybody again soon. Have a good day.